even if they've eaten, and this one has eaten before. Okay. He's showing an interest, but not terribly that much. Okay. So, what we're going to do is we're going to see if by changing the scent of this mouse, which they don't normally eat, into the scent of a bird, a baby chick, we may be able to get him to show just a bit more interest and maybe even get him to strike. I'll demonstrate a little bit more of the striking techniques later. I just think this snake has a good chance of eating on its own without too much teasing if I just am patient. But what we're going to do now, we're going to see if this makes a difference. We're going to moisten the nose of the pinky a bit in some water. I have a little dish of water. I just barely touched it down in the dish. And I have some chick down right here that I'm going to get onto the pinky. I'm just going to wipe his nose on that. See if I can get some of the stick. Oops. There we go. I need a little more water. Okay, so we've got the chick down stuck on his nose. He'll smell a bit like a chick, plus the down itself. Plus the down itself, the texture of the down, the fuzziness and so forth, that can cause his interest to pick up. Let's see what we can do here. Keep in mind, this is one of the most discouraging aspects in all of green tree python keeping. It's one of the most challenging aspects too, is in getting baby green tree pythons to eat. All I'm doing now is I'm continuously trying to get his interest. He doesn't seem to be that interested. I'm not that worried about feeding him because it was only about 5 days ago that he ate. Okay, he's showing a bit of interest. I'm kind of putting the hairs of the chick down. I'm lightly touching them to his face. He's showing some real interest here. If I bring it out, he comes out a bit. Let's see what you're going to do. What you going to do? There you go. Okay, he struck. He's constricting the baby. That is great. That is great. And that's something that you will find the chick down makes a lot of difference, and also the fact that it's a live mouse that is eating it. It really gets a good bite, hold, and constrict response out of the baby snake. Okay, so that snake is fed. I'm just going to gently close up the lid on the container. And I'm going to set this container aside. That's the snake that, this snake is now eaten for the second time. This one is its sibling. It's never eaten, so this one could potentially be a lot more difficult. I don't know. We're going to see. Here, this one is right here. Looks like he's moved to the center. Let's see what I can do. If I can, I want to get it so that you can see the snake better. Sorry about this. I'm just trying to get a stand for the camera here. Let's see if that works any better. If I can move that down. Maybe that's a little better. Let's go with that. Okay. So again, let's take a pinky mouse. Oops. Let's take a pinky mouse and we'll do the same thing. We'll get him so that his front arms are in front of the camera, or sorry, his front arms are in front of the chopsticks and his back arms in the back. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to touch the snake, let him smell it. Keep in mind, he's never eaten before, so he doesn't have any idea what's going on. You'll see him huffing a bit sometimes, and they do that sometimes in anticipation of having to constrict something or run away. They're just taking a few breaths of air. That's normal. I'm lightly running his feet across him. I'm tapping him, not on the head though. It's best to tap him, you know, down on lower parts towards the tail, unless you really want to get his attention really bad. Sometimes you'll have runners and you'll have to tap them near the head to get them to turn around and face the thing. Sometimes you'll have snakes that just sit there and don't do anything, in which case sometimes an actual stout tap will get their attention real quick. Let's see. He's looking at it. He's looking at the pinky. Sometimes touching him behind the neck in one of these little crooks here can help a lot. As you can see, even though he's not eating and even though he is hungry, I'm sure, because I have seen him luring, pinky mice are not the natural diet of these snakes. Neither are birds, but snakes understand birds a lot better, being tree snakes. They understand birds, they understand birds' nests and baby birds, and if they come across a baby bird in the wild, then that's something they might be able to be interested in. So anyways, I'm going to take some more of this chick down. I put it on the nose of the pinky now, and now I'm going to see if I get a different reaction. Not so much, okay, but he's looking. This is going to be more of a runner, I think. Runners are difficult. See, I just touched him on the head. He snapped his head back. That's one way to stop them from running. Another thing to be aware of is if you don't succeed the first time, try again. That has to be a green tree keeper's motto. Anyways, I could keep trying to do this, but I don't want the video to keep running on and on. So I'm just going to give you a few last tips. Irritating, a stout tap will often get their attention. Light taps, brushes across their body. When they start doing this, that kind of means that they want to run. And at this point, it might be better to wait and see. It might be better to just discontinue this at this point. Put the lid back on. I can see that he's going to be a runner. And they can be a little more challenging to feed. Make sure he's not going to be stuck in there. Okay. They can be a little bit more challenging to feed. And in this video, I'm not going to discuss the any more advanced techniques of feeding green tree pythons. Perhaps in another video I will. A couple of last things I'd like to mention is how often to feed, and maybe some of these advanced feeding techniques that I'm alluding to. In addition to feeding the right size prey, you want to feed your snake at the right times, the right frequency. Babies tend to eat every 5 to 7 days. A pinky mouse is easy to digest. It usually takes them about 3 days to digest, 3 to 4 days to digest and pass the pinky. And at that point, you just want to wait another day or two to kind of let them. You could feed them again right away, but I usually wait another day or two after they've last eaten to feed them. But if they're caudal luring, that means they're probably looking for food. It probably wouldn't hurt to feed them if you want to. Some of the special feeding techniques that I alluded to are things like assist feeding. That's where you take the prey and you put it in the snake's mouth with the hopes that it will taste the prey and maybe it will swallow the prey. It works reasonably well. And there's different techniques for feeding baby green tree pythons, assist feeding. You can either feed them the head itself, or you can feed them arms and legs, or you can feed them the entire pinky mouse by assisting. That's, you just put the head in their mouth and try and get them to eat it that way. Another assist feeding technique, not assist feeding, but another feeding technique is force feeding. That's where even when all attempts to assist feed have failed, the snake just throws the food out of its mouth, doesn't take it down. That can start to be a real serious situation. Force feeding is not something that you really want to attempt, except as kind of a last resort. And that either involves putting whole prey down their mouth and actually pushing it into the esophagus so that the natural swallowing reflex takes over, and it eats the prey. Of course, you'd want to feed dead prey in those situations. And there's also tube feeding, where you take a tube and stick the tube in the snake's mouth all the way down to its stomach, and you, using a syringe, you squirt some pasty-like material through the tube into the snake's stomach. Again, that's kind of a last resort thing too. Lastly, last tip is when you're feeding your green tree pythons, keep in mind that sometimes they will not necessarily defecate every time shortly after you feed them. Sometimes they may go weeks without defecating, and maybe you want to feed them again, but never feed them more than 3 times in a row without a bowel movement. That's kind of a good thing to remember, and that's because food will just build up and they'll have a huge bowel movement, and that can kind of be stressful for the snake. So limit your feedings to 3 feedings for each bowel movement. I think that about concludes this video. I hope you find it useful. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get the second snake to eat, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. I've already taken up enough of your time already. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Webster Wheeler, and happy green tree python keeping.